Footsteps, Chapter 53. It was always such a proof to me of our leader's inspirational basis of thought when she could voice one simple yet cryptic statement that would unlock a wealth of spiritual treasure. For instance, she made the statement, "God demands God," which indicates that the only way spirit can help man and manifest itself through him is when man takes on or realizes that he already has a spiritual sense which is of God. The army recognizes no one as a member of its ranks without a uniform. Hence, if you desire to be a soldier, you must apply at the place of enlistment before you come under the daily care and protection that is extended to the soldiers. Then you must put on the uniform. Another analogy explaining this same point is the telephone system. Here you must call the representative to come and install one of the company's telephones in your house before you can take advantage of their nationwide, yea, worldwide system as it is in use today. For this reason, it becomes a fundamental axiom in Christian Science that God demands God, because there is no way by which you can gain or attain a connection with God, and hence the power, love, and wisdom which emanates from him, except as you take on a God-likeness through which these qualities of God may flow. The fact that there is no other process than this precludes the possibility of what is wrongly called prayer, or a petition to a false sense of God of availing anything. True prayer is the effort made scientifically to eliminate materiality and to take on spirituality. It is the only method establishing that connection with God, over which power, wisdom, and understanding may flow. Hence, effective prayer is not a process in which we can engage when fearful. First, man must have a scientific understanding of the reasons why there is nothing for him to fear. Momentarily, he must put himself in the mental position of a child of God, who is governed by the divine mind and by nothing else, for only at that instant is he free from the influence of animal magnetism and hence able to perceive scientifically that which is real. When such an endeavor destroys the belief in everything that is destructive and disturbing, man can truthfully say, "There is no power apart from God." If you climb to the top of the highest mountain, you can say of a truth that at that moment you are at the point that is higher than all else. This statement holds true only as long as you are at the top of the mountain, for when you come down, it becomes a palpable lie. Therefore, any time you wish to make that declaration and have it true, you must climb to the top again. Similarly, the student of Christian Science climbs to the top of his mental mountain, where he puts all things under his feet. From his eminence, he sees and declares the absolute truth. But if he comes down and insists upon declaring as true the same statements he made on the summit, they become false because of his position. Furthermore, they accomplish nothing, and only succeed in chemicalizing those who hear them. The only time the student can assert, "I am governed wholly by God and by nothing else," is when he is at the summit of his mental mountain, or else when he is using such statements to aid his ascent. The scientific effectiveness of the absolute statements of truth as they are used by man will always be due to the fact that they are used at the top of the mountain. Statements true at the top are not true at the bottom. The bottom represents being under the domination of mortal mind, which always involves believing in mortal mind as real. When you establish the unreality of this mind, you are freed from it. That means you have climbed to the top of the mountain. Hence, to declare that mortal mind is not real while you are under its domination is endeavoring to serve two masters, unless you are declaring that it is not real as a step in the process of climbing into the atmosphere of God. Such working thoughts affirm that the things of the material senses and mortal mind are not real, that nothing can make them seem real or make us believe that they are real, that our thought does always dwell at the top of the mountain, is there now, where we know that all is infinite mind and nothing else exists. These affirmative statements are helpful only as we use them to climb the mountain. Then, when we reach the top of the mountain, they become helpful to all mankind. They broaden, extend, and cover the earth. This latter point can further be illustrated by the radio. We may turn on the broadcasting system and then assert scientific and constructive truths into the microphone. Following the elapse of several minutes, however, we discover that these statements are not being broadcast, even though the full power is turned on. Then, after climbing to the top of a high aerial tower, we find that there is a connection that must be made. When this task is completed, the message begins to go out to the world. Similarly, the declarations the student makes on the plane of mortal mind constitute the weapons of his warfare that aid in keeping his thought rightly adjusted, but they do not go out to help humanity until thought has been elevated to the scientific sending point, where all that goes forth comes from God, with man as the channel. In the case of the radio, the first time we make the assertions, we alone hear them. However, after the aerial has been connected, the world hears them. From Mrs. Eddy's simple statement, therefore, that God demands God, comes the illumination that in order for man to be a channel for God, whereby he can extend to humanity a universal blessing, he must take on or establish a godlike altitude of mind within himself, since like attracts like.